Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping into a body of work that has, it's shaped global communication for nearly a century now.
You're talking about Dale Carnegie, of course. His books. Over 50 million copies sold, translated into 38 languages.
And they're still flying off the shelves. It's amazing. Why? I think it's because the core problem we all face never really changes.
Exactly.
Whether you're running a business, managing a team, or just, navigating your own family life, the single biggest challenge is always dealing with people.
That's the entire foundation for our deep dive today. We've pulled from what we're calling the Golden Book, which really synthesizes the foundational principles from his two biggest works.
That's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and of course, the internal work from How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
Right. You need both.
So here's our mission for you today. We want to go past the quotes you've heard a million times and get into the actionable psychology, what Carnegie himself called human engineering.
We're giving you the shortcut to a mindset that honestly accounts for the vast majority of personal and financial success. These are really the foundational rules for human interaction.
To really get it, though, you have to understand where these ideas came from, their context.
Yeah, Carnegie was born on a farm in Missouri, 1888. He moves to New York and starts teaching at the YMCA back in 1912.
And at first, his whole class was just about public speaking, right? How to stand up and give a speech without, falling apart.
It was. But he realized pretty quickly that the real issue wasn't public speaking. His students, these were adults, professionals, they needed something much more fundamental.
Which was?
Training in, and this is his phrase, the fine art of getting along with people in everyday business and social contacts.
And this wasn't just a gut feeling he had. This was backed by some pretty serious research.
Oh, absolutely. This is what makes it so powerful. Major studies, one by the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching, found something that it completely shifted the paradigm. And that's the famous 85% rule.
Right.
For anyone listening right now who's an engineer, a scientist, a technical expert of any kind, you really need to hear this.
They found that only about 15%, just
15%,
of a person's financial success and career advancement is due to their technical knowledge.
So all that hard-earned expertise, that's only 15% of the equation.
The other 85% is entirely dependent on skills in leadership, personality, and that core concept, human engineering.
Let's pause on that phrase, because human engineering sounds a little cold, maybe a bit mechanistic.
Yeah.
What does it actually mean in practice?
It's a good question. Think of it like this. Your technical knowledge is the hardware, the raw data.
Okay.
Human engineering is the software that makes it run. It's applied empathy. It's the skill to motivate people by recognizing their value. It's basically UX design, but for human relationships.
So it's the difference between knowing how to do the job and knowing how to inspire a team to do the job well and on time. That's it, exactly. And it's why guys like John D. Rockefeller, who was the ultimate pragmatist, said the ability to deal with people was a purchasable commodity.
Right. He said he'd pay more for that ability than for any other under the sun. That's not just theory. That's a massive market validation.
And that validation leads us right to the core of it all. If it's that valuable, what's the secret? What's the one big idea?
Well, the book makes a pretty radical claim. It says there is only one way under high heaven to get anybody to do anything.
And that is?
By making the other person want to do it. Not forcing them, not tricking them, but creating a real internal desire.
And this goes back to some deep psychology from people like John Dewey and William James. They said the deepest urge in human nature is the craving to be appreciated.
The desire to feel important.
Yes. Almost everything we do, from our jobs to our hobbies, it all springs from that fundamental need for recognition.
Okay, but here's the critical question. If I'm trying to figure out what someone wants so I can get what I want, how is this not just manipulation?
That is the ethical guardrail. And Carnegie is very clear on this. Manipulation is about insincere flattery for your own gain. It's short-term.
And it feels slimy.
It does, and people see right through it. Genuine human engineering is about shifting your focus from your wants to theirs and using honest appreciation. If it's not sincere, it will always fail.
Let's unpack the first fundamental technique then. And this one is maybe the hardest because it goes against every instinct we have. Technique number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain.
It's almost always counterproductive. Criticism wounds a person's pride, it makes them defensive, and it creates resentment.
So they're less likely to change, not more.
Far less likely. He gives the example of Thomas Hardy, the author. He was so crushed by bitter criticism of his novels that he just He gave up writing fiction entirely. Criticism so often destroys instead of builds.
But what about in a corporate setting? I mean, you have to give performance reviews, you have to correct people.
The alternative isn't silence, it's empathy. It's investigation. Instead of attacking the person for the bad outcome, try to understand why they did what they did.
To know all is to forgive all.
That's the idea. You approach it with curiosity, not judgment.
So once we've stopped the negative flow, we bring in the positive. Technique 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation.
This is the fuel for that deep human craving for importance. And again, if it's not genuine, it's just flattery, and flattery is cheap. But honest appreciation, that is powerful.
The classic example here is Charles Schwab. Andrew Carnegie paid him a massive salary, not because Schwab knew the most about making steel,
No, many of his own workers knew more about the technical side.
but because he was an absolute master of human engineering.
Exactly. Schwab himself said that he found people will always put in far more effort under a spirit of approval than they ever would under a spirit of criticism. It just works.
Okay, and that brings us to the third technique, which pulls it all together. Arouse in the other person an eager want.
This is where you completely stop talking about what you want. You pivot. You talk only in terms of what they want, and then you show them how doing what you want helps them get it.
The story of Ralph Waldo Emerson and the calf is perfect for this.
It's a great little parable.
Yeah.
He and his son are pushing and pulling this calf, trying to get it into the barn, and it just won't budge.
Because they're focused on what they want.
Absolutely. Until their hired hand comes along, thinks for a second about what a calf wants.
Oh, milk.
Right. She puts her finger in its mouth, lets it suckle, and just gently leads it right into the barn. No force. She just appealed to its want.
That's the perfect illustration. So simple.
It really is.
Okay, so with those 3 foundational principles, no criticism, give appreciation, arouse want, let's get into the practical toolkit, the 6 ways to make people like you.
These are the daily habits of human engineering.
And we have to start with the one that takes the most mental effort. Become genuinely interested in other people.
It sounds so simple, like something you'd see on a poster, but it's incredibly hard because we're all so self-centered.
I remember reading about that telephone company's study.
The New York Telephone Company, yeah, they analyzed 500 phone calls and found the pronoun I was used 3,900 times.
Wow.
It's just our default setting. To counteract that, you have to actively, unselfishly invest your attention in the other person.
Like the Duke of Windsor. Before his tour of South America, he didn't just read some notes. He spent months learning Spanish.
So he could give his speeches in their language. That's genuine effort. That's showing real interest, and it won people over completely.
And then there's the one that is so simple, but so many people get wrong. Remembering a person's name.
Oh, it's fundamental. A person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language.
Forgetting it, or worse, misspelling it, just screams, "You don't matter to me."
Andrew Carnegie, again, was a genius at this. He wanted to do business with the Pennsylvania Railroad. The president was J. Edgar Thompson.
So what did he do?
He built his massive new steel mill and named it the Edgar Thompson Steel Works.
That is a very big compliment.
It's a permanent compliment. Forgetting a name puts you at a huge disadvantage. Remembering it is such an easy win.
Moving on to conversation dynamics, number 4 is just, it's so flattering and it costs nothing. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves.
And you're not just being quiet waiting for your turn. You're giving what the former Harvard president called exclusive attention. You're validating their importance just by focusing on them.
And we have to remember the brutal truth about human nature here. A person's own toothache is more interesting to them than a famine killing 1 million people on the other side of the world.
It's a harsh way to put it, but it's true. You have to address the toothache, the immediate felt needs of the person in front of you.
And that awareness, that's a direct bridge to what might be the ultimate skill in all of this, pure empathy.
Yes. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view.
Henry Ford said the secret of success is right there, in the ability to get the other person's perspective, to see things from their angle as well as your own.
But it takes real work. Dean Donham from Harvard Business School said he'd rather walk the sidewalk for 2 hours before an important interview than go in cold.
2 hours, just thinking about the other person.
2 hours just trying to understand their interests, their motivations, their history. That prep time, he said, saves so much friction down the road. It's efficiency through empathy.
So we've talked a lot about our interactions with others, but to do any of this effectively, To genuinely avoid criticism or show sincere appreciation, you have to get your own house in order first.
You absolutely do. You have to manage the internal chaos.
Which brings us to the other book, How to Stop Worrying and Start Living.
That's right. Worry is the great enemy of effective human engineering. If you're stressed and anxious, you can't offer anyone your genuine attention.
So what's Carnegie's first rule for that?
Live in day-tight compartments.
Day-tight compartments. I love that phrase.
It's a mental tool to stop you from worrying about yesterday's mistakes or tomorrow's fears. You focus only on what you can handle today, right now. It stops that anxiety spiral.
But what about when real trouble hits? A financial crisis, a professional failure, something you can't just ignore.
For that, he gives a clear 3-step process to move from panic to action.
Okay, let's walk through it. What's step 1?
Step 1, ask yourself, what is the absolute worst that can possibly happen? Define it. Don't let it be a vague monster in the dark. Give it a name and a shape.
Get specific about the consequences.
Exactly. Step 2, prepare yourself to accept it if you have to. This is the crucial part. By accepting the worst case, you drain the paralyzing emotion out of the problem.
So once you've accepted it,
Then comes step 3. You calmly and strategically try to improve on the worst. Now that the panic is gone, you can think clearly. You've turned anxiety into an action plan.
and that really leads to the permanent cure for worry, doesn't it? Action over anxiety.
It's the whole game. Get the facts, make a decision, and then act. Indecision is what feeds the worry cycle.
Keep busy.
Keep busy doing meaningful work. Refuse to give small anxieties more energy than they deserve. That discipline is the backbone of self-management.
So if we pull all of this together, from learning to praise, to seeing another's point of view, to living in day-tight compartments, it all comes back to one thing.
The great aim of education is not knowledge, but action.
It's an action book.
It's a complete methodology built on practice. You can understand the ideas in an afternoon, but applying them takes persistence and a real driving desire to get better at dealing with people.
So it requires a system, some way to self-correct and build these habits.
Yeah, there's a great little system from a Wall Street banker. Every Saturday evening, he would review his week, every meeting, every interaction.
And what did he ask himself?
2 simple questions. What mistakes did I make?
Yeah.
And what lessons did I learn for the future?
That kind of constant self-correction. That's how you turn these ideas into, like, muscle memory.
It is. It's how you unlock what Professor William James called our unused potential.
What was that quote?
He said, compared to what we ought to be, we're only half awake. He possesses powers of various sorts which he habitually fails to use.
Wow.
The entire purpose of Carnegie's work is to help you find and use those dormant assets, to wake up and start mastering that other 85% of your skill set.
So take these principles from avoiding criticism to remembering a name to that 3-step plan for facing fear and put them to the test in your life. Start today.
And see what happens.
And if this deep dive helped you discover some of those dormant powers, share it with someone else who could use it and make sure you subscribe. We'll see you next time.